Greetings, porters, to another lore summary video. I am Fragile Boson, your logistics support officer. This lore summary will cover everything the game wants you to know about Higgs in Chapter 3, right up until the large weather event that takes place at the end of your delivery to South Knot City. So to avoid any spoilers, you should have completed the game up to that point. Let's go ahead and get started. Well, we learn some very interesting and very important things about Higgs in this chapter. We hear his actual name from Hartman, which is Higgs Monahan, and we find out that he used to be a dedicated reconstructionist, and that's exactly right. He used to be dedicated to restoring and rebuilding the United Cities of America. He used to lead a private courier organization that covered most of the west part of the country, and he was instrumental to supporting the people that lived there. The unfortunate reality is that because Bridges and Higgs were separated by so much space and distance, they were not able to really stay connected, and Bridges wasn't really able to exert a whole lot of influence over Higgs and his organization, and that may have led to some of his radicalization into a terrorist leader. Additionally, the separatist movement was the strongest in the West, where Higgs was part of. So the thought is that just time and exposure probably led towards him becoming a terrorist leader like he is today. We've already mentioned this a little bit, but his name is based on the Higgs boson, or the God particle. It's associated with the Higgs field, which gives mass to all of the other particles in its field. So without the Higgs boson, atoms would just fly apart, and matter wouldn't exist as we know it. In other words, its very presence prevents mindless destruction, which, Hartman points out is cosmic irony indeed, because Higgs's very presence in our game promotes mindless destruction, or at least it appears to be mindless destruction. I can't help but note that in a Hideo Kojima game, there's probably a lot more to what's going on with Higgs, and there's probably not mindless destruction, and his existence in the game probably serves a very core function. There's something there that's important about him, and that's why he's named after such an important particle. It's also, just to remind you that that's one of the reasons I named my channel Fragile Boson. It's because I really like the game, and boson was the name of the particle that the Higgs boson is called. The boson is like a kind or a type of particle. And I just liked Fragile Express's logo of the skeleton hands. So, that's why we named the channel we did. My 14-year-old son was the one who designed my logo. So that's a little bit of channel history as well as information about Higgs and the Higgs boson. Higgs is said by Fragile to have the ability to conjure BTs, and Fragile actually chases Higgs through or across the beach. Towards the end of this chapter, we see Higgs showing up in disguise to give Sam a nuclear bomb to deliver to South Knot City. Sam throws it in the Tar Lake. We can also see that Higgs has the ability, through the flashback with Fragile in this chapter, we see that he has the ability to cause timefall to start. So not only can he summon BTs, he can jump across the beach, and he can cause timefall to start. Higgs, we also find out in this chapter, is embarrassed about his face, about his looks, and that's why he hides behind a mask. Higgs said that he betrayed Fragile because he found someone who completes him, and that doesn't need him to wear a mask. So he found someone else that in some way completes him, he says. And I don't know if this is an allusion to the fact that, Fragile talks about later how Higgs didn't have these powers before, and now he has the powers. So he found someone that's giving him some kind of power, like these powers over BTs, the ability to summon timefall, things like that. And who would that someone even be? We have no idea right now, essentially. To kind of further bolster this thought, I would like to point out that in the flashback, when Higgs jumped, she was shocked, and that could be the first that she ever knew that he had these extra powers like that. Fragile also says one interesting thing about Higgs. She says that Higgs can't be killed. He's way more powerful now, but asks Sam to take him. And I don't know if this means that, is she telling us that Higgs literally cannot be killed at this point? Is he achieved some sort of state between life and death, like Hartman has alluded to in his interviews? Has he evolved to that point where he can live on the beach or in the seam and not actually die? Or is she just saying that due to the fact that he has all these new powers, she just doesn't think that she could take him and wants Sam to? Either way, she seems to think that he's unkillable, but that Sam can at least stop him in some way, and asks him at the end of this chapter not to kill him, but to leave that to her. But then she says, please take him if you can. I think that we could work together on this. So there's more to know, I think, about what's going on with Higgs and Sam and Fragile. I mean, there's a lot to know in this game from here on out anyways. It's just going to get crazier. So buckle up. Get ready for that. This is probably my 4th time beating the game, so I'm trying to go back through and figure out what every chapter tells you that is important to know before you go on to the next chapter to kind of help out. And there's crazy stuff that's going to happen with Higgs. There's no other way to say it than that. Well, this has been the end of another lore summary video concerning Higgs. I have been your host and logistics support officer, Fragile Boson. Keep on keeping on, and remember, tomorrow is in your hands.